What is up, guys? Today I want to do something that I've been meaning to do on stream, and we've been getting a little bit sidetracked on stream. But today I'm going to break down the ultimate guide for speedruns in BWL as a rogue. Now, my guild just completed our 23-minute speedrun, which is about 2 minutes shorter than what we wanted, but still got World 6th Horde run, and that's since been beaten. But we're going to be going for a lot newer strategies and pumping to get those numbers down a lot this week. And I know a lot of you guys are also. Usually I release videos every Tuesday, but I'm getting this one out early specifically because we do want everyone to be ready to go for the fastest times possible. Of course, this also is a really incredible week for parsing. So if you're in a guild that runs the dungeon a little bit slower, then you're going to do really insanely well as parsing this week. You can get just some ridiculous numbers, especially if you're, again, in a parsing guild. But this guide is going to go over cooldown management, all of the pulls, all of your roles, where you want to do pretty much everything, and where you want to be focused, or what you want to be focused on in a speedrun as a rogue. I'm going to use my run as an example, which I actually feel like I played pretty terribly. So we're actually going to go over all of the mistakes I make as well. And from there, of course, before we get started, as usual, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me here with the subscription, but we just actually reached our first 1 million views on YouTube. 1 million views on YouTube. When we started the channel at the beginning of the year, I'm extremely excited on that. So leave a note in the comments if you want to see any sort of specific content. I'm going to do videos this week covering all of the weapons, the frost weapons for Viscidus and how they all stack up against each other. There was a video that somebody made before already, Nefarian Clouds, if you see him ever on YouTube, makes really good videos, and he made a video going over some of the weapons. I want to go over all of the weapons for rogues, for Viscidus, we'll talk if you're going to even need them. And then also I will be going over all of the best daggers for the rest of the game and what are the best dagger combinations. So of course, again, make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to hang out with me live on stream, my Twitch is twitch.tv/Sarth, and I do stream every Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday right now, 7 p.m. PST. And from there, of course, that's the intro. Let's get right into it. Okay, cool. So getting right into the video, breaking things down, I skipped past the Razorgore ads phase because there's literally pretty much nothing you can do to make that faster. It's pretty much like a static phase. It's kind of like Nef phase 1, where the only thing you're doing to min-max per se is just not using Slice and Dice as often as you usually would, because it's just kind of going to be wasted. You're just trying to optimize on your energy usage. But in any sort of speedrun or any sort of good guild, you're killing these mobs, these trash mobs, so fast that there's no issues here whatsoever. There's two separate things that as a rogue you want to do. You do have an exposed armor rogue in your guild, especially if you're running a speedrun or a parse run now. You're absolutely running an exposed armor rogue. So the very last time that the tank or whoever is controlling the boss, it's usually it's your main tank, the last time that the boss drops and becomes targetable, your exposed armor rogue is dumping into that boss, Razorgore, to make sure that he has as many combo points as he can. And within the time of the person actually just recontrolling the orb, just clicking it again, you usually can get 4 or even 5 combo points up on the boss. Then you need to make sure you never de-target Razorgore so you don't lose your combo points, so that the second you actually start the fight for Razorgore, you get up and expose armor. Warriors can also get Sunders up early on speedruns, but you're not too worried about that because you're getting exposed armor up instantly. Other rogues, you could, I guess it would be cheesy to do, and it would be a waste to overall raid DPS to get a couple combo points on Razorgore at that time also, so that you can just get a early Slice and Dice. But usually, especially if you're in a parse run, you try to have a Slice and Dice up beforehand. In my run itself, actually, none of the Dragon Kims were spawning right before Razorgore was going to be targetable, so I didn't go for getting another Slice and Dice up. I actually just pooled energy so I had max energy. You can also see that on this fight, I will use my FAP. So that's my potion cooldown. All warriors are using their PvP trinket on this fight to get out of the stun. The only reason why I and like other rogues could use FAPs, you could use a speed potion after Veil and that's why you would want to save your potion CD. But I have Sprint, I have the Skull of Impending Doom, I have Rocket Boots, and I have the Trinket, the Speed Trinket. So I'm not too worried about that. So I use FAP, and then I'm going to use every single cooldown. So you're just pumping into this boss as fast as you can, as usual. I used T already there also. I did 2k DPS on this boss. You only need to get one Slice and Dice up. I did 2k DPS on it, and then you're moving. I used Sprint here, which was a huge mistake. Always save your Sprint here. There's no point in you as the rogue being the person that rushes in to this boss. The next thing I do want to note is I used Blade Flurry there, guys. And most of the time in a faster run, you're not using Blade Flurry, you're saving it for Veil. But you need, in a speed run, you want to have Blade Flurry up for the mobs right after Veil, even though you're only attacking them for a little bit, because you're pretty much running right by them. Here I also do change off of Thunder Fury to Core Houndtooth as an offhand because it's slightly better, and of course you put on your Xandelari Hero Charm, or Hero Medallion. If you're Horde, if you're Alliance, you'll be putting on your Venomous Totem Trinket for this fight. In speedruns, most of the time you do see the melee standing on the same side as the casters, but technically it doesn't really matter. You could go onto the other side where the casters are, and what you would do then is just run up the other side. Like, you don't need to run up this side. And then the other thing I do here in this speed run, because it was this week, I used my Cinder Bracers, so that was nice. But Xandelari Hero Medallion up, I got a 2-point Slice and Dice, which is pretty much gonna last you the whole time. And then a normal rotation for all rogues that are geared now is literally you're just backstabbing, hoping you have good RNG, but you don't even. We had some rogues up pretty high, but you can see our Warrior Wompy got #1 on the server. He did like 1.5k DPS overall on bosses. Here I change onto instead of going onto a Speed Trinket, I use my Swiftness of Zanza, which I should have used one earlier because I'm not using my Scorpok Ashe till earlier. And we did lose someone there, which I hadn't noticed. I go to use Blade Flurry, which if you're moving slower, you'll have Blade Flurry up. I actually didn't have Blade Flurry up, so I just moved past it. We blind this mob and instantly move forward. So your rogues, you want your rogues to be as far ahead as possible in a speedrun, because the biggest time waster in an entire speedrun is going to be, most of the time, the Suppression room. And most speedruns do run up this left side, so we wait till we drop combat. Ace pulls, our Hunter pulls the first Hatcher. A good for the Suppression room as a rogue is to just keep moving and move in like an order, and call it out if you get knocked out of stealth, but mark yourselves and then move in the same order. So he'll be in front of me and then I'll be behind getting the next one. I'll call for him if he's in front of me to just move forward and I'll get these ones. Also, you do want to get this specific one right here. If you're moving up the left side and you're not aggroing all the top, which now people are doing so that they can do the early Broodlord pull with their Burning Adrenaline, which is awesome, you do want to make sure you get this suppression device right here. The main reason is because the usual way of walking here should just be a straight path. But people have a tendency to just walk to the very left side of the suppression devices, but you'll notice that this suppression device, the second one, is slightly more to the right. So if you're directly on the left side of this suppression device, you're actually getting suppressed here. So you don't want that to happen, obviously. So I make the call for someone else to move away from this one. I get this suppression device. I was a little scared here that I was going to aggro one of the whelps. I didn't use my distract, which I could have. I called for the Hunter not to pull these guys until I was out of the way. Then he does. I just move forward and let someone, a rogue behind me, make a call out to go get that one. Perfect. I should have marked myself as well. I also make the call for this rogue that was marked already as the triangle to get that one. This one is gonna come up because nobody got it and it went down. So I'm just keeping an eye on it and trying to call out for my rogue team. So that's like a big thing. So I see him going for it. I just can move forward. In a speed run, what you want is to have as many devices down as possible just so you can just blast forward. Now, the new strategy for Broodlord is right here to run up here on the left and have a rogue, your hemo rogue or your exposed armor rogue. The hemo is you get improved stealth speed, which is really, really nice to be able to down all of the suppression devices on the way to pick up Broodlord. And then you have prep because you can sprint away from Broodlord, and if something goes wrong, you can vanish, prep, sprint, lip away from Broodlord and pull it right here to your group. So we did aggro the top, and then we just started moving forward anyways. We're doing the old strategy because the one that Onslaught and Progress made popular this week, we didn't even try it yet. It just hadn't even occurred to us, but it was a great strategy. Another thing that's very important, you only need to kill 7 of the hatchers. So in an optimal speed run, you can actually just distract some of the hatchers as your group runs by them. My group, we do kill all of the hatchers, I believe, so it's kind of a waste. And we get all of these, we're keeping moving. And I just decide, because just for safety purposes, I have the time, I should get this one. Next, I am gonna probably make the call, and you should too, is you don't need to be in stealth anymore. Like, you're not doing anything to help your guild in stealth anymore, so you could help and kill some of the dragonlings. So I just dropped stealth, get into position. I walked too far over to the left there and got suppressed by this device. Huge mistake, number 1. And then I'm gonna get knocked back, I think, right after if I use Blade Flurry. Oh, I resisted the knockback. So then it's just a normal rotation. You can use Blade Flurry here, but it's gonna be actually more useful on the pull right after this. I have my Renatakis on, so it's useful to use your Renatakis because it's a waste just having it on and not using it. So every good rogue should, after this, switch your trinket, because you wanna have the best trinkets ever, like at all times. And if you drop combat, this pull, you just need to nade. It's easy. Some of the groups, sorry for getting distracted, some of the groups do double pulls here of the goblin packs. We just do the singular goblin pack. You just need to nade and blow up the goblin pack, and then you either see if you have good firemaw padding or not, where you go up and you go to kill this group. This is why I saved Blade Flurry. This group is so important, and in an ideal situation, we would have ran and met up with this group. It actually was a bad call for us to wait for this group to come back to us. We do use FAPs, and your focus on this group should be the Worm Guard, so that you can then go and meet firemaw with these overseers up, and it's not an issue whatsoever because you're not going to have your tanks being spun. So we could have been padding this whole time forward, although we did have spinners as our tanks, and our main tank that was tanking this was in a very awkward position for that. So we should have focused the Worm Guard, and in any speed run, you should focus the Worm Guard so you can move forward. And then you just go and fight firemaw. I saved Blade Flurry there, which I shouldn't have. That was actually a mistake to save Blade Flurry instead of using it on that pull. It is very, very, very useful on firemaw. You do want to use every cooldown you have on firemaw. And again, like I mentioned, I didn't change my trinket, but you're going to want to change your trinket. So it'd be nice to have Renatakis up for firemaw because it's more important of a fight than Broodlord. So moving into the suppression room, I would, if you were doing an optimal strategy, switch your Renatakis off to whatever your other trinket is for Broodlord. And then right after you down Broodlord, instantly put Renatakis on, because you're probably going to drop combat for like a split second. That's it. Now as we move in, you are going to have assignments, right? As a rogue, you'll usually have assignments, and you're going to nade all of these guys, but you'll usually have assignments. I got kind of scared there because I walked directly into all of the goblin packs. But your assignments are going to be to either be on a warlock or to be on a spellbinder. And you do not want the spellbinders to cast their flame strike. That is just always bad. So in that first group, my assignment is the square, and there's not that extra spellbinder in that first group. If you're pulling these solo, if you're single pulling these, which another thing I should mention is that Calamity actually brought up the strategy that you don't even pull this group right here, this one that we're attacking right now. You don't pull it because you actually pull it into Nef's room like you do with the Overseers at the end, or the Worm Guards at the end. And this was a huge play. That saves like 30 seconds to a minute maybe, where you can just move on. Now there's a square. So I have my nade up again. You do want to rotate nades between these pulls if you're pulling them like we are. I nade and then I get up on the square, and now my job is pretty much to kick the square. The idea here is to minimize overall raid damage, because if your guild isn't spamming Flask of Distilled Wisdom, like mana management is extremely important for your healers. Calamity did a 19-minute run, almost 20-minute run, without spamming any Flasks of Distilled Wisdom. So they did that really well. The better strat is, of course, to use the flasks. It's just way, you have infinite mana. It's way better. But it's just not really a viable strat for a lot of guilds. And on a lot of servers, like my server, flasks are extremely expensive still. Next, this is pretty much the same thing. These pulls are very easy. You instantly move into the Worm Guards, and this is the pull where two things are happening. You're fapping, you're using three things. You're fapping, you're going to use your Masterwork target dummy, and Progress, and Alliance guilds can do this also, other Alliance guilds, but Progress does, instead of using Masterwork target dummies, they rotate AoE taunts on their tanks and bop that person. So bop them, AoE taunt, which is doable also with lips. It would be. I don't know if you can start spinning if you're lipped though. So for Horde, ideally, if you want to cleave these down, and this is where I saved Blade Flurry 4 again, if you want to cleave these down, you do want to use your target dummies here. The Masterwork target dummies are amazing. So you cleave these down as fast as you can. Everyone's blowing them up. You can see that a lot of these are just targeting the Masterwork target dummies again. And we didn't have any spinners here. And a little note is later you'll see we should have done two separate things in Nef's room. I didn't use Renatakis on that, which I probably should have, and then swapped trinkets. So I looked to change, because that trash pack, you do want to blow up as fast as you can. And so the big thing for speedruns is utilizing all of your cooldowns. Cooldown management is massive for speedruns. You want to know how many times you can use it, what are the best times you can use it. So like Blade Flurry there was like, there's so much cleave on that pull back there that is so much more important, especially if you're doing a singular Drakes like we did here. And as the Drake is about to die, you go get the next one. In an ideal world, you have your person that's gonna go pull the Worm Guards already up, pulling the Worm Guards and moving them into position so that he can Flask of Petrification. That is what happens in the best speedruns, and Progress does it so that they actually had their person pull the Worm Guards into Chromaggus' room, which was a really good strategy. Here, I had used Renatakis on the last fight, so I swapped onto Hodge. I don't swap onto BB because, well, actually I could have, because I was crit capped, but I wasn't because of the hit food. So I could have used BB. Now we move forward. The person that's pulling the Worm Guards is a little bit slow for us, and I wish we had done this already, but that's just kind of how it happens. You move in. We have a rogue pulling these Worm Guards, and he uses, obviously, Flask of Petrification, and you can have a cancel aura macro bound with Vanish to get out of the Flask and live. It's still sketchy a bit, but that's usually the play. Next, Chromaggus. Chromag is a fight where you do like to use cooldowns. So you'll see I use Adrenaline Rush and Blade Flurry because this is one of the longer fights in here. So you do like to use cooldowns. In Nef's room, you're going to have Blade Flurry back up anyways. I still have my Vanish. So I'm going to Vanish the First Breath because I have used all my cooldowns during this little phase. So I'm just going to Vanish the First Breath. Boom, Vanish it, keep attacking the boss. Even in speedruns, it's still pretty optimal to Vanish one of the breaths on Chromag. If your guild is killing Chromaggus fast enough, you're only going to have one breath. So you never need to stop attacking the boss. I accidentally moved my Sapper macro. So when he went fire, as you can see here, I just went for it. And then I do LOS, but we should have just made the call to kill the boss. Ignite Flesh isn't going to kill you. Even if it was any other ones, we should have just made the call to kill the boss and move on. Although, we should have started kiting back faster. Instantly put on your cloak because you're not going to have combat drop for very long. And we should have kited the boss back to the gate a little bit faster so that no matter what it was, even if it was time lapse and you're stunned for that time, you make it into the room as you can. Here is the next scary part. like the scariest part for rogues, for everyone. The 3 worm guards entering this room. I can't stress this enough, guys. There is no reason whatsoever to not split these guys. You can cleave them down, yes. You can use Masterwork target dummies, yes, which is on a cooldown because I think when you use your sappers, it sets it on a cooldown. But stacking these, there's no point whatsoever to not just let your tanks get into their position with these mobs while the rest of your group just kills the normal Nef trash. And the reason there is because phase 1 of Nef, again, is static. It's a static phase for length. So it doesn't save you any time to cleave those down or burn them and blow them up. It doesn't save any time whatsoever. You just want to be safe. We unfortunately got 3 bronze ones, which are 3 spinny boys. We've lost 1 tank already. We're going to lose a lot of people. And this is where we really lost most of our time. We're at 15 minutes here. No, we're at 19 minutes, which is still like slower pace, but we could reach like a 21 minute. But now everyone's spinning, we're all scared, trying to decide which mobs to attack and not grab aggro and stay at max melee range so that we don't keep killing people with the spins. But there you can see we've lost 1, 2, 3, 4 people already, and 3 of those are tanks. 3 of those are our big tanks. Supreme dies here too, who's one of our biggest DPS warriors. So like that's 5 people. That's a lot of damage you're losing. And one of those is the 1 warlock. So we lost Curse of Recklessness here too. So this is just the biggest mistake you could make. And actually in Calamity's run, it's crazy. In Calamity's run, they stacked these up and cleaved them down. Purely good RNG. I mean, they might have been ready to get out if they pulled, or if they had any spinny boys, but it was purely good RNG. They just had good RNG where they didn't spin. Like, I was watching it on stream. We broke it down on stream with some guys from Onslaught and Progress, and all of us were just thinking, like, why did they do it? It was so risky. But at the time, they got their world 3rd run. But it was so risky. So don't do that, guys. Don't do that. Don't use your cooldowns on that either. There's no real point to use Blade Flurry there, because you would much rather use Blade Flurry on Nef. There's like multiple reasons, but the real reason is, I guess you could Blade Flurry there and have it back up possibly later on Nef, but there's not really a point to burn those ads so fast. There's no use in it at all. And then you kill the ads, you're back here on Nef. This is where you use your cooldowns. I don't have Adrenaline Rush. I use it on Chromag, and you shouldn't either, so you probably won't have it up. So then you're just pretty much using Blade Flurry. You're going to use your Renatakis. You're going to use Thistle Tea if it comes back, but I doubt it will. And actually, I think I do get Adrenaline Rush back up because of how long our Nef kill is. Shadow Flames are just unlucky if you get Rogue Call. You do want your tank to just move faster, but that happens. I do get Adrenaline Rush up. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to get Thistle Tea also, but here is just like a normal rotation. Just your casual normal rotation, and you're trying to do as much damage to the boss as you can. Ideally for rogues, if you have Vanish backup again, you can Vanish that fear, which I have Vanish up now, so if another fear does go off, I will Vanish it in a few seconds. The boss is almost dead, so I didn't go for a 5-point Slice and Dice. I vanished that fear. He does do it at the very end, so I just vanished it, which everyone should do if you have Vanish backup. Vanish a fear every time. It saves you, even if if you're a horde, you have totems, Tremor Totem, and that saves you time. But as Alliance, if you don't have Fear Ward on yourself up on that fear, just vanish it. There's no point not to, and you're eating a whole fear is such a waste of time as a speedrun in a rogue. And that's that, guys. That's the cooldowns you want to use on every boss. That's the mentality you want to have for every single pull, and where you're kind of focused, and as well the mistakes that were made even in my run, in my guild, and how you can do it faster. So this is the ultimate speedrun guide for rogues. It's more of just like a commentary. If you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments. If I forgot anything, let me know in the comments as well. My guild didn't use speed boots, no, it's rocket boots, and we should use speed potions also after Nef. or after Veil, and also you want to use something speedy to get you to the suppression room from that Dragonkin pack after Veil. I do think it is better time-wise for everyone to move into that Dragonkin pack and then kill it right there instead of waiting or pulling it early and trying to LOS it. It's kind of sketchier because if one Wormkin, one of the female casters, doesn't group up with everything else, it does waste time. And the only thing I think that I missed for you guys is that right after you finish pretty much firemaw, you can actually take off your your swiftness of Zanzapot, and you can put on your ground Scorpok Ashe. Because from there, you're not really using movement speed, isn't really the crutch of your run anymore. And so doing slightly more damage is better. So for warriors, they can also use their roids here or there. And there you have it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, my name is Sarth. If you like this sort of content, please do like and subscribe. We did reach 1 million viewers, as I said earlier, and I'm super pumped on that. So I'm going to be pumping out as many videos as I can, guys. If there's anything I left out or anything you want to see me cover, please let me know in the comments. Come join the Discord channel. The link's in the description, where we do a lot of theory crafting and such. There are also going to be even more sub-only videos coming in the next couple weeks, and we're going to be breaking down a lot of things for AQ very early in there. And lastly, as I always have to say it, but if you want to watch me do these things live, we'll be doing another speedrun this Tuesday, 7 p.m. PST. It might be delayed, but I don't think so this time because the PTR is not around. But if you want to watch me do anything live, feel free to just come over, hang out in the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Sarth. I do stream every Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, 7 p.m. PST. Let's all have a good time out there. Good luck in your speedruns this week. Hope everybody gets a new record, as well as I hope they all get new records on their parses, if that's what you're focused on. Much love to all you boys and girls out there. Peace out.